Bill, maybe you should get a real job. Because I was taking my diplomas off walls and putting them in different offices because I kept losing jobs because of the elections. So I joined my firm 30 years ago, this past January, as an associate, not a partner. Not having any experience in gaming. I'm Bill Pascrell III, BP3, and I represent interests from cradle to grave.
Right, that's a combination.
Right. I was given, I didn't bring it in, a gaming client to do the work for. And who was that gaming client? Donald F. Trump. Now, I do work outside of gaming, but about 75 to 80% of my business is representing 82 different gaming interests. Operators, suppliers, affiliates, payment processors, geolocation companies. You have to understand the federal government, two areas the federal government doesn't touch and leaves to the 50 states. Automobile insurance. There's no federal automobile insurance. It's state by state. And gaming. Now, that's changing with predictive markets.
Bill, thank you very much for accepting the invitation to have a conversation with me. It was a long time coming. We've been together at the conferences, panels, I don't know how many times it was. Many, right?
Many, yeah.
Yeah, the past couple of months, it was the trio, right? I mean, you, Martin Lichka, and me, panels like at one time, you would take a role of the moderator, then I would take a role of the moderator.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're still missing the combination where Martin is a moderator.
Yes.
We should try that one out. So great that we were able to meet here in Malta. I believe you travel here quite often, right?
I do. I really love Malta. So, Simone, thank you for having me. I'm really honored to be here. I'm thrilled. And normally I wouldn't care. But this is nice. I like you. We've known each other about 5 years now, maybe a little longer.
Oh, yeah.
So I was in Malta. It's all connected to gaming.
It is.
I come to Malta 3 or 4 times a year, always for this event, the Sigma event. And then I have to come here because I have a lot of clients based here when the U.S. regulators come over for suitability investigations and interviewing the senior executives of the companies here. I went to Malta for the first time in April of 2010.
2010.
Why is that significant?
Tell me.
I came here on the dime of PokerStars. They had just hired me to bring iGaming to America. So Isai Scheinberg, who I just have massive respect for, we've become very good friends. He says, Bill, I need you to go to Malta to a conference and speak about what you're doing for us in the U.S. about iGaming. Nobody believed it was going to happen. So I go. And I stay Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday for the conference. I speak at it. Lovely time. Really enjoyed Malta. Played poker at night, and I have some great stories about my first time playing poker here. So Friday, I'm Catholic, Roman Catholic. Was Good Friday.
Yeah.
I went to the church up the hill in St. Julian. Good Friday, I go to Mass like a good Catholic. I went to the wrong Mass. They have Italian, Latin, Maltese, right? I went to the Maltese Mass. I didn't understand the word. Beautiful time. Why is this important? So back then I had a BlackBerry. This is 16 years ago.
Yeah, with a keyboard, right?
Oh, yeah. Walk out of the back of the church and they have a little festival where, you're not allowed to eat meat until the next day. Because Fridays you fast on meat. Go out and have peaches and wine. And just chatting with people, had a wonderful Mass. The Mass was spiritual, very happy. And my BlackBerry starts to blow up. Why? It's Black Friday.
Right.
It was Black Friday. I have no idea what's going on. I'm getting these push notifications. U.S. Justice Department under Obama indicts PokerStars, Party Poker. It was crazy the next 24 hours. So I was supposed to go home to be home for Easter Sunday.
Yeah.
I didn't make it home for Easter because I was working and canceling flights. But that was my first time in Malta.
Yeah.
Since then, I come back 3 to 4 times a year. I've been doing this conference now. This is my 6th year. I do Sigma. It's a little different, not as good content. But I've never had a bad experience here. I think the culture's great. It's very diverse, like where I'm from in northern Jersey, right by New York City. So that's my Malta story.
You know, I guess everybody has a bit of a crazy story. At least one of the times they've been to Malta. I had my own. It was actually also the first time I was in here, and it was not far from here at the Spinola Bay, if I'm not mistaken. And long story short, we got stuck in a very tiny elevator. Me and 3 other guys. 2 of them were Polish. 1 of them was my colleague. All 3 of them big guys. Stuck. You know, we've been there. It was sometime around 7 or 8 in the evening, and we were trying to get to our room. And these 2 men came, and they just wouldn't accept that only 2 people should fit in the elevator. It was all over the elevator. Like, it's gonna stuck. Do not put, not more than 2 people in the elevator. It's gonna stuck. They were like, no, we go in. They were a little drunk, so they pushed us to the elevator, and we ended up there. And it looked a bit tight at that moment because we started to argue. But once the elevator stuck, we're like, okay, we're in this situation together. And they had a few beers with them because they just went from the grocery store. So we spent the hour while we were waiting for someone to unstuck us to drink a couple of those beers. And at the end of that story, we were best friends. So you never know what's going to happen here in Malta.
You absolutely never know.
But you mentioned the sports betting and the US, and there is a big history with you personally and with the inception of the sports betting regulation in the US and beginning in New Jersey. And we'll be talking about it later. But I wanted to ask you a broader question for this particular time. What do you do these days? What you are most focused on? What's happening in your work world right now?
So, you know, Simone, this is very helpful for me because a lot of people know me, but they don't know what I do. Because I have learned I have to do a better job explaining what I do. So I'm a lawyer. I went to law school, obviously passed the bar, and worked in government. I was the chief counsel for the New Jersey governor 34 years ago. I was in a law firm. I worked on the campaign, and then he asked me to come in because most lawyers who are older, they don't want to go to work for government because the pay is less. I loved it because it was a good opportunity. That was a wonderful experience for me. It was 4 years. He lost his reelection, unfortunately. Democrat, his name was Jim Florio, former member of the U.S. Congress. Wonderful man. He just passed away a few years ago when I was here. That experience got me to learn about the DGE in New Jersey because they used to report to me in the governor's office as the counsel, the lottery, consumer affairs, the attorney general's office. And I didn't take an interest in gambling. So park that. Governor Florio loses his reelection to Christy Todd Whitman, close race. My guy was a Democrat. Christy Whitman's a Republican. And then I went to go to Congress to work for a congressman in Washington. That guy lost his reelection. And my wife, at the time, my ex-wife, who's still my good friend, says, Bill, maybe you should get a real job. Because I was taking my diplomas off walls and putting them in different offices because I kept losing jobs because of the elections. So I joined my firm 30 years ago, this past January, as an associate, not a partner, not having any experience in gaming. My first client, when I came in, and I really got into it, because I had never gotten business, I worked in government. My first client was the Firefighters Union. So I represented the 36,000 firemen in New Jersey as their lobbyist.
And that was gaming related?
No gaming,
No
no
way.
gaming yet. So the firefighters who put the fires out, they need a lobbyist to help them with their union, contracts, health benefits, salary, all that. So I was their lawyer lobbyist. My second client was the funeral directors, the morticians.
Okay, so from firefighters to funerals.
And my third client was the Pediatric Association, the pediatricians, children doctors. So I used to say, I'm Bill Pascrell III, BP3, and I represent interests from cradle to grave.
Right, that's a combination.
Right. So then about 2 years after I'm in the firm, I'm still an associate. The salary was good because it's more than government. The benefits were good. And the founder of my firm is still there. He's 10 years older than me. I was given, I didn't bring it in, a gaming client to do the work for. And who was that gaming client? Donald F. Trump.
Right.
His 3 casinos in New Jersey. So I got to meet him. He wasn't really political back then. I was doing his casino regulation business, licensing, all that. And I'm learning now. And I'm trading on the relationships that I developed a few years earlier when I was in the governor's office. All things
They come together.
come together.
Yeah.
Here's the story. Back then, there were no cell phones or Blackberries. There were pagers, and we used to have bag phones, a phone in a bag.
Yeah.
I get a phone call at my desk from a guy I went to law school with. His name is Keith McKenna. We went to law school together. We used to drink together, study together. You know, you build a relationship.
Yeah.
He says, Bill, I need a lobbyist in New Jersey. Okay? I live in Vegas now, Las Vegas, Nevada. I'm working for the supreme gaming guy, Steve Wynn. You know who that is?
No.
Yeah, so that's good because neither did I.
Okay.
Steve Wynn, MGM, the Wynn Properties, the Encore. Have you been in Vegas?
I was once.
Yeah, you know they have the Encore and the Wynn. That's Steve Wynn's
yeah,
property.
yeah.
He's a mogul in the gaming industry, but I didn't know that. And it's not like I could look it up on Google. There was no Google. So he says Steve Wynn is flying into Atlantic City Airport next Monday. Would you drive down and meet him at his home in Margate? So Atlantic City is almost the southernmost part of New Jersey. I go down to meet Steve Wynn. I go from Patterson, New Jersey, in my little Honda Civic. I go into this house. There was a butler, opens the door. The lobby of the house, right on the ocean, had 2 albino tigers in cages.
No.
Steve Wynn is a very artistic, artsy, like he's not just about casino, he's about the experience.
Weren't there 2 albino tigers in Vegas? It was one of the hotels which was just torn down. Was it the Mirage?
That's his former property.
Is it, right?
Yes. That's the connection. So listen to this story. Steve Wynn, the butler takes me to the back, it's called a sun porch.
Yeah.
Overlooking the ocean, the waves are crashing up. I forget what time of year it was, it'll come to me, but it wasn't summertime, so it was a little chilly. He's sitting like this, looking out the window. You're me. He never looks at me. Fast forward the end of the meeting. I find out he's legally blind.
All right.
He never turned to look to me. He just was like he's looking at the ocean, but he can't see anything. Here's the story. Bill, one of my lawyers, Keith McKenna, and Keith and I were young, 30 years old. We're not like experienced or really important people. Everybody's important, but we weren't that important. He says, I have a property in Atlantic City, and I need to build a tunnel to the property from Atlantic City to this island underwater so I can have access because I want to build a casino there. Would you do it? Of course, I'd be happy to do it. He says, send me a fax,
Right.
give me a proposal,
Yeah, beep, beep, beep.
and we'll hire you. listen to this. As I'm driving back home, almost 3 hours to my house, I didn't go to the office, I went home. And I was excited. I got another client, it's exciting. Back then, I'd get 10% of whatever the gross compensation was, in addition to my salary. My pager's going off. So what do you do back then? This is 1994.
You need to stop and take a phone call, right? From a booth.
Put a dime in the phone booth, call.
I feel like I'm watching a 15 or 12 1990s movie. Yeah, I feel like I'm watching a movie now.
Yeah, I'm trying to create it for you. So I put the dime in the phone. I called my office, and my secretary goes, John Russo wants to talk to you. John Russo was a very important political figure, worked for the firm. He was like of counsel.
Yeah.
He says, when you get home tonight, call him on his home phone. He's not happy. I don't know what's going on, Bill.
Okay.
So I didn't make a connection. I go home. I tell my wife I met Steve Wynn, and she had no idea who he was. And so the funny part about it is you dial back 30 years now everybody's like, wow, you met Steve Wynn. I called John Russo when I got home. Here's the conversation. Bill, what the F were you doing with Steve Wynn? I go, what do you mean? Donald Trump's Nick Ribis, his right-hand man, his name was Nick Ribis, R-I-B-B-I-S, Ribis, yeah. He called me and he says, Donald wants to meet you and Billy Pascrell III tomorrow in Trump Tower in New York City, and he's not happy with the kid. Me.
Yeah.
I said, what the hell? I don't know, but they're not happy you met with Steve Wynn. Next morning, I wake up early. I figure I'm going to lose my job. What the hell did I do? I didn't think I did anything wrong. Go to New York City, park. Back then, it was like $10. I thought it was a lot of money to park a car. Now it's like $75. Walk in, meet John Russo in the lobby, go up the elevator to the top, the gold office overlooking Manhattan and the Hudson. Here's the conversation. Are you Bill Pascrell III? Yes, sir, we've met before. He goes, get the F out of my office. You're fired. Boom.
Whoa.
My eyes water up. My whole life flashes before me. John Russo goes, Billy, wait in the lobby. Get out of here. So, you know The Apprentice, the show?
Yeah.
Donald Trump's show, The Apprentice?
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, this is like The Apprentice. Wait in the lobby, sit on a bench, thank God it was there, and I start crying. I'm like, I lost my job, I got a mortgage.
It's heavy stuff, I mean.
Really crazy. Half hour later, John comes out. He goes, Bill, we're fired. We're done. I asked him about the money. He owed us $180,000 at that, and John knew because it was his client.
Yeah.
He managed it. I did the work. He goes, I don't know. Steve Wynn hired us. But here's the real punch. Steve Wynn knew if he called John Russo would never take the meeting. If he called me, the kid, I would take the meeting. He made sure Trump found out about it. They were mortal enemies. Why? If you go to Vegas, there's a Trump Tower hotel.
Yeah.
There's no casino. Why? Because Steve Wynn fought for 30 years to make sure Trump never got a casino license. Fair or not, Trump hated him. When Trump became president, Steve Wynn became the head of his inaugural committee. They became friends later. But here's the funny part about Donald Trump, and I'm no Trumpian or a MAGA guy. Donald Trump should have said, don't take that work for me, let's fight him.
Indeed.
Because he fired us, we got the tunnel built, and I got the state government to pay $41 million 30 years ago, 28 years ago, to build the tunnel.
Yeah.
That tunnel would have never been built. And because of that, the casino that got built there really hurt Trump's properties, and he went bankrupt on the casino business. So that's the moral to the story. Everybody thinks Trump's so smart.
That's a great story. I was holding my breath the whole time. But tell me, what was the tunnel used for? It was just for cars. So people will be able to access that.
So in Atlantic City, you have the island of Atlantic City, where you go from the mainland over a bridge to Atlantic City Island.
Yeah.
It's about 45,000 people. It's not that big. Where there's, at the time, was 13 casinos.
Right.
Next to the island is a marina district with one substantial island, and a piece of that island Steve Wynn bought to put a casino there.
Yeah.
That's the whole significance. So he needed to he didn't want to build the bridge, he wanted to build a tunnel.
Oh, yes. Makes sense. So that was the beginning. Later on, you would get into a big job of lobbying for the sports betting, online sports betting, to be regulated. And help me understand the transition, because from my understanding, most of the owners of the land-based casinos were not very excited about online gambling.
You do your homework.
At all, right?
Right.
And so the people you have worked for originally, I imagine they weren't up for this. So what was the transition from them to the place when you were actively and then successfully lobbying for online sports betting to be regulated?
That story I told you about Steve Wynn and Trump, just to put it in perspective, because most people are not going to listen to all the details. I get it. So that took place 1994-5, that area, okay? Fast forward to 2009, where I get a phone call from a gentleman who you may know, very, very smart, rough personality, never made money. Used to work for a technology company. The name's escaping me. He started an association called IMEGA, the Interactive Media Entertainment Gaming Association, made up of 36 offshore sports books.
Right.
Offshore meaning illegal.
Yeah.
In the Caribbean, Costa Rica, the islands. They hired me to start the campaign to bring sports betting to America outside of Vegas.
Yeah.
At the same time, Joe Brennan, who really pushed my career, he made me successful in the gaming industry by bringing me into it. Because all I had before that was really Trump, and then I started representing casinos, but nothing outside of New Jersey. I represented a casino association in each individual casino, and it was good money. And then I became a partner, and I was making money, and life was good. At the same time, he hires me to bring sports betting. He introduces me to Isai Sheinberg of PokerStars, who I didn't know. I never heard of PokerStars. I never played online poker.
Yeah.
Sheinberg hires me also to bring online casino to America. So I'm doing both projects. The money was, my father was a school teacher and a politician. Always government, never big salary, never into money. Because of that, I grew up in a blue-collar family.
Yeah.
I like money. I want to make a little money. Now, I'm not obsessed with it, but now I'm making crazy money. That's when I started becoming a partner 25 years ago.
It's a lucrative business, right, gambling? Or especially for that time, doing a job like that.
Correct.
I can imagine.
Nobody's doing it in America.
Yeah.
So what happens? I lose the casino association. I lose the individual. They were all against online casino because they were concerned about cannibalization.
Yeah.
They didn't want sports betting. The NFL started hiring lobbyists to oppose me. And so we had a 10-year campaign to repeal what's called the federal law PASPA. You know about this.
Yeah.
Some of your audience will. But most people that are like in their 20s and early 30s, they don't know any of this. They think it's always been.
Yeah.
Right. So PASPA's repeal took 10 years. It took a lot out of me. When I lost the casino association and when I lost the individual casinos, it was a lot of money. Isai Sheinberg matched the money on top of what he was paying me. He says, I don't want you to go home at night thinking, oh, I want you to be excited and motivated. And I'm talking very big money. Okay. So I was Here, I picked up Scheinberg, then I lost, and he brought me back up to here. So life is good.
Yeah.
We got casino done. We also got exchange wagering done for horse racing. I represented a man from Ireland who was a big horse guy. And finally, we got PASPA done in 2018 after the court battles. That was the adventure of a lifetime. I had never been, I wouldn't have been to Malta. I wouldn't go to Prague with you, right? I wouldn't be going to London like I go because I have a lot of clients there. I wouldn't be going to Israel or Australia or all of that. Now, I do work outside of gaming, but about 75 to 80% of my business is representing 82 different gaming interests. Operators, suppliers, affiliates, payment processors, geolocation companies, the whole world.
But would you take all that work as a lobbyist work? Or is it more also on the side of consultating, compliance? Like, I know people, I know who you should connect with. How much of that is lobbying? How much of that is consultancy?
Very good question, and you're helping me because I always leave it out. So I was hired to be a lobbyist for sports betting, online casino, horse racing, exchange wagering. As a result of that work, Shimon, I started to think, because I was getting law firms calling me saying, Bill, we need a lawyer to help get licensing. I didn't know how to get licensing. And then I said, you know what? I will do it, and I'll charge you a cheap fee. So I don't charge hourly. I charge a fixed fee so you can budget. So I got my first client that I got a license for. And I said, this is easy work. My secretary can fill out the paperwork. I call the regulator. I do the meetings. We get the fingerprints. We do the background checks. Why am I going to kick this out? So I do 4 verticals. And I'll tell you some really cool projects I'm working on now. Not because I'm smart, because nobody works harder, and because I really like what I do. I'm not going to work. It's like an adventure. So I do lobbying all across America, in every state that has gaming. That's a big part of the practice. I also do what's called advisory services. You have a company. You want to come to America. You want to be an affiliate. You want to be an operator, blah, blah, blah. I can advise you on whether you need to set up an entity, what banks to use, what maybe law firms to, because I don't do contract work. That's not my space. That sort of advisory services. Then I also do what I would call public advocacy, like I do for Entain, where I go out and I speak about responsible gaming. So I do that for multiple different clients, payment processors, geolocation, that want me on their brand, promoting them, but I don't work for the company I represent. You know, I'm not an employee. So it's sort of like, I call it one-stop shopping, and I'll tell you, and I'll kind of end with this. I love this conversation because it helps me process how to better explain. I never had a client in my life until about 24 or 5 years ago that wasn't U.S.-based. And what I learned is America has a certain perception around the globe. Sometimes it's up, sometimes it's down, depending on who the president is, the economy, civil rights, all that. A lot of European companies and Oceania, New Zealand, Australia, they have great respect for the country, but they think they can just Google, hire a law firm. Most law firms in America know nothing about gaming. But you hire a white shoe firm, you think, I got a great firm, Arnold and Porter. They're going to bill the hell out of you. And so what I found out is that there's initial sticker shock sometimes, but the Europeaners, who I've come to know, help me, like Scheinberg, introduced me to several other companies. And those companies introduced me. So now I'm representing companies in Belarus, in Poland, in Italy, in France, in Spain, in Portugal, in the UK, in Israel. And what's good about it is because I'm not a shyster lawyer and I'm not trying to hustle. I'm getting the work done and I enjoy it. They're happy. They're not getting killed with the expense and they're getting good results. Not cheap, but not overpaying. And I'll give you one final punch. There's a lawyer based in Vegas who's a Jersey guy who has an office in Atlantic City and Las Vegas because those were the only casino towns for many years. He was in the brick and mortar space. I was the first lawyer in America, first lawyer to do online gaming. Now everybody else thinks they can do it and nobody really goes back. So I ask anybody, you want to hire a lobbyist or a lawyer? Ask them what they've accomplished. What have they done? So they're a lawyer, big deal. The lawyers are a dime a dozen. The interesting thing is, this guy picks up a UK payment processing company who tried to hire me, and I said, "You're never going to get that done."
Yeah.
450,000 US dollars later, they realize, well, Bill was right.
I think the America or the world needs more Bill Pascrells, because
that would not be a good thing. I don't want more Bill Pascrells.
You cannot do all the job. I mean, there's so many companies, so many, and especially now when it's still, I think you can say that this is still booming in the US, especially with the online casinos, that you would need more. But you've mentioned the system in the United States and how people perceive it from outside. Given your, I mean, it's not like your political background, but given your family background, you know how this works. You are growing up with this. You understand how it works in different states. What is one thing or a couple of things that people are missing out and they don't understand when it comes to United States regulatory system and a system over there? Because I've met so many people who felt like they can come there and they can even, just tell people how it's supposed to be, and it just didn't work. So what's the thing they don't understand, how it works over there?
It's very frustrating for me because I see it every day right in my face. And when I like someone, like I like you, and I'd never want you to come to my country and start working without getting the best advice that's going to be helpful and efficient. Here's what they don't understand. When I was hired by Isai Scheinberg, I found something out. Isai Scheinberg had a lawyer in New Jersey. The lawyer's name was Frank Catania, Italian-American, born in America, parents were from Italy. Frank got my father, because Frank was close to my father, to introduce a federal piece of legislation, because my dad was a U.S. congressman for 30 years. He died while he was still serving, August 21st to 24th, so we're bumping on the 2-year anniversary of his passing. And let me just pause for a minute. My dad was my best friend, period. It wasn't just my dad. We talked every day. Like still, when I woke up in Malta, when I was here after his passing, I got to tell Dad about last night. I still have that reaction. Anyway, it's all good. I'm over the grieving. I'm very celebratory about his life. I found out from Isai Scheinberg because he saw the connection, but he didn't hire me for that reason. My father and a congressman called Barney Frank, who just passed away last week. Barney Frank was the first openly gay U.S. congressman from Boston, Massachusetts. A wonderful man. You know where he was born? Bayonne, New Jersey.
Right.
So Barney Frank, who was a known figure, my dad was a freshman, they introduced the federal Online Casino Act. It was there for 5-6 years. My dad wouldn't know what online gaming was if you hit him over the head with it. He didn't know. He didn't even know. They never got a committee hearing. The bill never moved. So most people think when they come or talk about America, why can't you be like Italy or the UK? One country, one law. We are, even though we all speak American, English, right? We're 50 different states, 50 different cultures. We cook food differently. We have different political views. We raise our kids differently. We have different education. It's called home rule, local rule.
Yeah.
It's like where you're from. You have different regions. You have to respect the culture.
Yes.
You don't want to make it just one big entity. But when I was hired by Joe Brennan and Imega for sports betting and Isai Scheinberg for online casino, Caesars, the famous global gaming company, reached out to me and said, Bill, your father's moving our bill. I said, yeah, he's had the bill for 10 years. It's going nowhere. I'm telling you, it's not going to pass the federal government because I worked in the federal government. You don't give credit to your father. I says, no, I'm just telling you. He goes, give us 1 year. We'll get it done, and if we don't, we'll support you. I said, no, I'm not waiting a year. I'm hired by Isai Scheinberg and Joe Brennan to move the dial. Caesars opposed us. They were like one of my biggest adversaries. But here's the moral to the story about online casino. Online casino is not anywhere in the world cannibalizing brick and mortar. It's a complement.
Yeah.
And you know that. But most people, like that's a big reason a lot of other states haven't done it. Tribal, the American Indians,
Yes.
they feel it's going to cannibalize other states. And then there's the RG piece and all of that. So you have to understand the federal government, two areas the federal government doesn't touch and leaves to the 50 states. Automobile insurance. There's no federal automobile insurance. It's state by state. And gaming. Now that's changing with predictive markets. Now the federal government is getting, so it's a very interesting circle. And most people live at the moment. They don't study history and they don't think about how things are going to evolve.
Yeah. So from what you're saying, it's when you move from one state to another to have meetings with regulators, and I know that you've been doing that, still does that, you need to adjust. You need to know the culture, you need to know the people. At least you need to know what to expect and how to make that conversation happen, because I believe that you can very often end up in a situation that, no, you will just go through very strong resistance, and this will just not be accepted. So I guess that's the thing that people don't understand, because they might see it as a homogeneous market, which surely it isn't. But you mentioned, and now the problem is, you mentioned the prediction markets. And it is something that is endangering all 50 states. So I'm going to ask the question very general. What do you think about prediction markets? And also I'm curious, why do you think that such an innovation has came from United States? Because you've had legalized online gambling for years before America, get on this ship. Why US prediction markets? Tell me about prediction markets.
So we started online gaming in New Jersey first, then Delaware, then Nevada, then West Virginia, Connecticut, Rhode Island.
Now it's almost 50 states, almost all.
Not online casino.
No, sports betting.
Sports betting is in
48.
40 some odd states.
Casino, just a few.
Casino, 8.
8.
7 plus Nevada poker only.
Yeah.
Okay, which is really bad. I remember hiring an entity out of the University of Pennsylvania, okay, Ivy League college, to do a study on cannibalization because nobody believed what I was saying. So at the end of this beautiful conversation, I want people to remember something. You have to educate before you advocate. You've heard me say that,
yes,
but it means something, right? You can't walk in and start railing to you have to educate them because they can't know everything. As a lobbyist and as an advisor and counsel, I'm there to help educate them, and then I can ask my questions. So it's sort of influencing.
Yeah. And you also need to be smart on how to educate them so they wouldn't feel like be preached.
Exactly. Don't be didactic.
Yeah.
Right? Be sort of conversational and explain, look, I tell politicians all the time, I just was with a bunch of politicians from a southern state. I said, you're crazy not to explore online casino. I know you feel it's gambling, and it is. Sports betting's not gambling. It's gambling,
It is,
right?
yeah.
So they feel it's easier to do sports betting in America than it is to do online casino.
Oh, yeah. I mean, sports betting has a better rep than online casinos.
Exactly.
But now with prediction markets, it's like all just makes very little sense to it because, I mean, you do not have casinos in prediction markets, but you can literally bet on anything.
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay.
Not yet.
Where is this coming from?
I'm going to answer that question, then I'll talk about prediction markets. So I believe the prediction markets are going to launch predictive market casinos.
What do you think is going to be the outcome of the roulette? I mean, like, you're still making predictions.
Exactly. Exactly. So years ago, I mean decades ago, there was an organization at the federal government that managed what's called commodities. Grain, corn, wheat, all of the, oil, right? All the commodities, more agricultural, okay, except for the petrochemical. It's called the CFTC, the Commodities Futures Trading Authorization Commission, CFTC Commission. And they always regulated the commodity exchanges, like stock exchange, but for commodities, gold in different commodities. They're now getting into regulating the commodity of futures contracts on events. The weather, politics, the Academy Awards, any event. The problem that they have, and I've told them this, the worst thing they did in the last year, because it's only been going on 2 years now, and Kalshi's valued at $22 billion.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Yeah.
Ridiculous. And they don't have all the licensing fees that all the other books have. They should have never allowed, but I get it, because they're bringing oodles of money. They should have never allowed people to place a futures contract on whether the Ayatollah in Iran will get killed.
Yeah.
That was bad. And then you have the guy that was with the SEAL team that bet that they were going to invade Iran, who knew in advance. So that's insider trading.
It is.
But
There's a lot
you
of
have
that.
insider trading in the stock market. So you have to fix that. That's not a reason not to do it. The other thing is, you know this because you've been with me so much and we've chatted so much and we've helped each other and educated each other. I am a big proponent of regulation and regulators. I think it's good for consumer protection. I like the regulators. I support them. Dave Reebok used to say Bill Pascrell is our biggest proponent. I'm out there across the globe praising the DGE, the Division of Gaming Enforcement of New Jersey.
Yeah.
But here's the issue. They don't believe me right now. They're not mad at me, but they don't believe me. I think you could see a whole cattle cave of different regulation if the state regulators don't understand what's happening. They're losing court cases. Kalshi's operating in just about every state.
Yeah.
You can't ban Kalshi at the state level because the federal government support. You can't. The federal government says it's okay.
Yeah.
So that's why you have the litigation. Now, many people believe they're going to ultimately end up winning. I don't like a lot of the push against predictive markets because it's more political than substance. They don't like Donald Trump. They don't like Donald Trump's son being on the board of Kalshi and all that.
Yeah.
Okay, I get it. I'm not a Trump hater. I don't like him. I never voted for him. I never will. I'm embarrassed he's my president. But he's monetizing his office with his son, and okay, so that's a reason not to do something. I don't like fully appreciate that. But here's what's going to happen. 16 years ago was 2010, right? Yeah.
2010, yeah.
So I was representing FanDuel and DraftKings, who nobody really knew it. They were DFS, Daily Fantasy Sports.
Yes.
And I told them, stop your massive advertising. It's going to get you in trouble. They're paying me good money. They're like, yeah, whatever. Okay, Bill's a good guy, but he's helping us get our DFS licenses, which is easy to get. No fingerprints or all that.
Yeah.
They advertise off the charts like on Football Sunday, NFL. What happened? The Attorney General in New York shut them down. So I think the same is happening here, where there can be too much overreach. Kalshi has to pull it back a little bit. For example, you can bet right now on Kalshi on the weather. What the weather's going to be. Will it rain tomorrow?
Yeah.
Will the temperature fluctuate more than... You know what people are doing? They're going to the weather instruments that read the weather, and they're influencing it.
Yeah. I saw the video in France, I think. Yeah, in Paris.
But that's not a reason not to do something. That's a reason to say you need further regulation.
Yeah.
You need integrity and compliance and rules. But my concern is if the U.S. state regulators don't get smart, there's very few instances in the world where it's all or nothing. Okay? But I think you have more control over things if you meet in the middle. What do I mean by that? Have the states come together like as a group, approach the CFTC and say, look, here's what we're going to do. You're going to regulate it from the federal level. You approve it, you deal with the integrity. We're going to license them in each state, and we're going to tax them. Well, CFTC would love that.
Yeah.
The states want to shut it down. And here's the final punchline. Last September, you saw it. You and I were we in Lisbon last year?
Yeah.
Yeah. We talked. FanDuel and DraftKings left the American Gaming Association, started predictive markets.
They did, yeah.
So, like, what do we really...
I mean, I agree with you, and especially when you think about it from the perspective of the US, how it has evolved and how it is evolving. I mean, the bottom line for me, you just cannot stop things. You won't be able to prohibit them in this digital world. I mean, people, especially once they've already are aware that something like this is going on and they make fun of that, and they are enjoying it, it's entertaining for them, you can just shutting down from overnight and then just keep it in a silo. No, they will find a way how to get to it. So the only way how you can somehow make it appropriate for the state, for the taxing, and also for the consumers, for the protection, is to regulate it. And when I was saying, especially for the US case, when you think about it, it was always I wouldn't necessarily call it an innovation, but it's creativity. You know, how to make things possible, even though it's not described in the law and you cannot regulate it. Prediction markets is just the one last example of it. Fantasy sports, it's how all started without the regulation for online sports betting. Then you had sweepstakes casinos, which are still there. I don't know how it looks with sweepstakes casinos these days, because the prediction markets, they just, roll them over. And now you have prediction markets. So, it's like, I like to say this phrase from Jurassic Park. There is this scene when they say, like, life always finds its way. And in this case, it's the business always finds its way. And especially I'm saying it for the third time, in an environment like US is, when it's very liberal, when it's very focused on, okay, what is not being prohibited, it's allowed, and you will just need to find a way how to approach it. Absolutely. But then the most important part for this conversation would be the protection of these players, because like inside trading is one thing, but also this is by I dare to say that by what the engagement with prediction markets is doing to your brain, to a human brain, is the very same as with gambling, even though you can define in different matters according to the law. And as you've mentioned before, the part of your job is public awareness, talking about what is important in gambling. And I can see that you also inherit this in your work as a lobbyist and in your work with regulators, to make them understand and to make everybody understand that you need to make it in a sustainable manner, in a sustainable way for both the operators and the players, so you can make it effective for a long run. So coming to this topic, you often say, you often speak about sustainable gambling, and I'm curious what it means to you specifically.
So I was very fortunate many, many years ago when I was introduced to Entain before Martin Litschke was there. And I helped them get their licenses. In every state they have a license. And then they approached me when Martin came in to talk about creating a foundation for responsible gaming, integrity, and compliance.
Yes.
We launched it with Amani Toomer, the former New York Giant, Super Bowl champ, and a good friend. And we had a good run. What I like to say about the work I'm doing with RG is the American gaming industry has a vulnerability. And the vulnerability is misperception, misunderstanding. If you have a relative that's legal age, 21, 22,
Yeah.
and they tried to commit suicide, God forbid, because they lost everything one night gambling. Does that mean we should shut gambling down? Or does that mean we need to find ways to give treatment to that individual?
The latter.
I've always said we are one newspaper headline away from the whole industry collapsing.
Yeah.
Some politician, son, daughter, mother, father, sister, brother, going down the rat hole, there's a reaction. So the way to create a more sustainable industry is to be on top of this one issue, which very few people talk about publicly. The more regulations you have, the more chances you're going to push people to the black market. If the regulations don't have a really good outcome, if they're burdensome, right? So if I say in the state of Kentucky, where I can bet on sports at the age of 18, but every other state except North Carolina is 21, what do you think is going to happen? People in those states that are 20 years old, they're going to be like, I'm going to go to the black market or the street bookie, right? But now, I'm not saying we should change the law just because of that, but how do you provide protection to those people that want to do something, right? It's almost like taboo. I want to do it because you don't allow me to do it, right? I want to be against the government telling me what to do, and I understand that. That's why I'm not a big fan of affordability checks either. I don't think the government should tell me what I can afford. And I think people, you've heard me say this, it doesn't always go over well, but I believe it in my bone marrow. People need to take personal responsibility.
Absolutely.
And parents need to take responsibility for their children. Government is not the front of foot to be on top of that. As parents, you and I are parents. We should be on top of that. My kid goes down a problem. So I'm working with a company, as you know, founded in San Francisco, moved to New York, founded by Elliot Rappaport, mid-30-year-old, very smart tech guy, created a company called Birch's Health, the treatment company. It's exploding. Why? Because insurance covers it. Gaming operators love it because they don't have to pay anything for it and they can embrace it, so they look like they're doing something that's good. And so back to your question. The only way to create a successful gaming industry is to have a more sustainable gaming industry that's focused on consumer protection, helping those that are vulnerable, and the communities that are vulnerable, okay? And making sure you're not preying on the vulnerable.
Yeah. I mean, I can really echo the thing you said about the personal accountability. And, because you just cannot, like we were saying before, you cannot lock people in the silo, and you cannot make the regulation of a entertaining activity in a way that it will not be entertaining for these people anymore. And again, saying this for the fourth time, especially in a culture as where the bottom line is, like, it would take a long way for someone to tell me what to do, right? As it is the U.S. I mean, the personal liberties and all what is inherited over there, you just cannot force people to do something. And then again, those headlines and those terrible situations, when you are unprepared for it as a jurisdiction, it's going to roll you over. I mean, just I think it's fair to take an example of the environment in the United Kingdom right now, where all the negative news around gambling, they circle around so drastically that it's very difficult to get a meaningful environment there and relations between the public and the politicians and also the gambling companies. It's just very difficult. I wonder what it's gonna take to move to an effective kind of collaborations between those parties and effective. Yeah, I guess it will be the relations which are important over there. But yeah, so you mentioned the balance between these two. What it takes for a company to understand where is the line for them to, okay, we want to go further this and increase our revenue because, whoopsie.
Okay, that's okay. A little shower.
Where is the line for these companies? How are they going to be able to draw them? Like, okay, we will stop here and we will prioritize the players' protection.
Many years ago, I had a conversation with a U.S. regulator asking them if they would, in every license, there's what's called the lead, the head license, key license holder. And I asked if this RG lead for a public company could be the key license holder. The regulator laughed at me. And I'm like, I'm serious. They're like, Bill, that's a joke. I said, why? He says, Bill, nobody respects the RG leads. We like them. We require them. But when they walk into a boardroom, it's almost like, yeah, okay, get out of here.
Yeah.
So one of my goals in life is to help a company get their RG lead to be a key license holder. And what I do, and I love this, I'm sorry for the mess. It's only water, though. What I do is I laugh at this. I spend more time lobbying operators and clients than I do lobbying governments. Why? Because most companies' culture is what? Make
business,
money.
Yeah.
Make money. But what they also don't realize, I want to make money too. But I think I share something that you have that a lot of people don't have. We have standards, we have values, we have ethics. Doesn't mean we're better. It just means we're principled, okay? What they don't understand is you may make oodles of money right now, but if you don't create a more sustainable industry that's consumer-oriented, your players and governments, players are going to leave, governments are going to crack down. So what is hard, though, I'm going to tell you a story related to sweepstakes. It's a great story. You were with me when the beginning of the story happened.
Yeah.
You were with me when the next chapter. I'm on a plane to ICE, first year in Barcelona last year.
Yeah.
I'm on a plane with Dave Reebok. Now, Dave is just starting his business as he retired from the DG, so he's in the back of the plane. I'm fortunate to have clients paying. I'm in the front of the plane. He comes up. He asked me to buy him a cocktail. He says, Bill, we're leaving. It was a Saturday night. We land in Barcelona Sunday. The conference starts Tuesday. We're going 2 days in advance just for networking. He said, Bill, there's a piece of legislation up to ban sweepstakes on Thursday in New Jersey. I said, yeah, I know. He says, Bill, we're going to be in Barcelona. I go, yeah, I know. You're not going to be there? I said, no, Dave, we're going to be in Barcelona. He says, well, I really think we should be there. I go, Dave, the bill's going to pass. It doesn't really need us. And you want the bill to pass. I know you do, but I don't really have skin in the game. Like, nobody's hiring me to support or oppose the bill. He says, would you please get the bill pulled down because I want to testify on it. We land in Barcelona Sunday morning. I call Clinton Calabrese, the assemblyman, sponsor the bill. Bill, no problem. I'll postpone it for a month. Dave Reebok thought I was the greatest thing in the world. It's the worst thing that could have ever happened.
Oh, yeah.
Why? Because he pulls the bill back. The Attorney General sees the bill and makes it worse.
Okay.
A complete ban on sweepstakes. I come back from Barcelona. I get a phone call. This is February of 2025. 16 months ago, 14 months ago, whatever. The guy who calls me, his name is Joe Hockey. Who is Joe Hockey? Former Australian ambassador to the United States in Trump's first term, 2017, 18, 19, 20. Biden gets elected, he gets pushed out. There's a new ambassador to the U.S. Hockey's got a company called the Bondi Group, like Bondi Beach in Australia. They're not a lobby firm. What they do is they get Australian businesses that want to do business and they connect them to people like me to help them out. He says, Bill, would you take a call from Lawrence Escalante? It's like the Steve Wynn story. Who the hell is that? He's the founder and CEO of VGW, the largest sweepstakes operator in the world, based in Australia. And he wants to hire you at my recommendation. Yeah, I'll take a call. He says, would you mind doing a Zoom? I love Zoom. I hate Microsoft Teams, so Zoom's good. So I'm on this Zoom second week of February last year. Lawrence Escalante's on his boat in Sydney Harbor, like obnoxious.
Yeah.
I like, really? Like, you have to be on a boat? Like, okay, it's winter.
Yeah.
Back home in New Jersey. He's like, Bill, I don't need a sales pitch. Joe Hockey recommends you. I know a little bit about you. You represent a lot of Australian companies. I want to hire you. For what? I want you to be our advocate in America to stop the bans on sweepstakes, to advocate for us. I said, Lawrence, I'd be more than happy to represent you under one condition. You got to want to be licensed, regulated, and taxed. Send me a proposal. Don't give me a slide deck. I just get a proposal, 3 pages.
Yeah.
Your fee, blah, 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 blah. So the first paragraph, I hung up the Zoom.
Yeah.
I wrote the proposal and I sent it via email to Hockey, who sent it over to Escalante. Here's what it said. Dear Mr. Escalante, very pleased to meet you. You're making a lot of money. I wish you the best. I cannot support you unless you want to be licensed, taxed, and regulated. If you're willing to do that, read beyond. If you're not, throw this in the garbage. Then I gave him a fee of $25,000 a month for 1 year. He crosses out the first paragraph. He puts the retainer to $75,000 a month, 3-year contract, no out on his part.
Right.
Sends it back. So a week goes by. Hockey goes, you're not going to respond to the guy? You have his email now. I said, no, I already responded to him.
No deal.
He goes, let me call him and tell him. Escalante says to him, well, what does Pascrell need? More money? $100,000 a month? $150,000 a month? Listen to the story. Mr. Escalante, I have nothing against you, but I cannot represent you unless you want to be licensed, taxed, and regulated. Nothing more to talk about. He ends up hiring somebody who didn't do a very good job because last year alone, 33 states banned sweeps, including New Jersey.
Yeah. So we're there.
So I'm now, wait, listen to this. January of this year, 1 year later, 11 months, Lawrence Escalante was indicted for money laundering, sex trafficking, and other things. There's a new sheriff in town. I'm now representing VGW.
Yeah.
They want to be licensed, taxed, and regulated.
It's good to have standards, for yourself.
Yeah.
And for, the reputation, it just goes with the people. And in the gambling industry is not that big. That, everybody would know that.
We know each other.
The second thing is also, it's a long-term investment. I mean, it kind of relates with the first one. A long-term investment, not only for you, but also for the companies that you work with.
Right.
Because, okay, you maybe make a little less money now, but it's going to come double to you in the years to come, because then you can relate on stuff. You can relate that you're going to be in the business. So, and the third thing is that when you send this word out, my hope is, and I believe it, it's going to influence the rest of the industry. So it's very important that we are having this discussion right now. Last question, because we are running out of time. It's a bit of a futuristic question. So if we will sit in here 5 years from now, what is going to be, according to you, the biggest change in gambling?
Wow, that's a very good question. I would say this. And it sounds like I'm hedging, but That's what we do. If state regulators in America don't become more nimble, I think you will no longer see state regulation of gaming.
Okay. That's a big one.
It's a big one. It'll be regulated by the federal government. And a lot of people say to me, well, Bill, Trump's only there for 2.5 more years. I go, what makes you think the next president isn't going to support it? Let the federal government take the tax money. Why should the states take it? And I'm not saying that's the way it should be.
Yeah.
I'm hoping for a more elegant, amicable solution. That's number one. Number two, unfortunately, and I'm not a big scare people person. I see it happening every day. My brother Glenn just left being chief economist for Citizen Watch globally to start his own AI company. He left Citizen. He was tired of the corporate world.
Yeah.
I just met 4 people yesterday here in Malta, all starting AI companies, advisory, whatever. I don't know a lot about AI. I know enough to be dangerous. I also think we're going to see a contraction in our industry. AI is going to eliminate a lot of jobs, but it may also provide some further opportunities.
Yeah. So I guess that's fair said. I mean, I'm very curious about the first one and the federal government. But I know what you mean, because when it will be getting into the directions which will not be working out, I believe that it's possible that something like that's going to happen. But it was a tremendous conversation, Bill, and thank you for the stories. And I really had the feeling that I'm watching a movie when you were describing these, and they are very exciting. I mean, I don't know how it is in different industries, but because the nature of our work, that we travel, we meet people, different countries. Stories like these and things, you are creating an environment for that, and I think it's pretty exciting. But even except of this, I really enjoyed talking with you. So thanks again to be here with me, and thanks again, Bill.
Thank you for having me, Shimon. Thank you very much. It was a pleasure. And the final thing I will say to share with you and your great audience. I'm old in the industry, and I didn't start out so old 30 years ago, right? I'm 61. I wish I was 10, 15 years younger. I'm blessed because I can now work with people I want to work with as opposed to having to work for somebody, right? And I also think the future is great. It's bright, but it's going to be a lot of challenges over the way, just like anything else. Nobody thought sports betting would happen the way it does. Nobody thought we'd get online casino in America.
Exactly.
Things are exploding. But what I'm hoping someday, my ultimate dream, and I don't think I'll realize it before I die, but I hope, is to have a more global gaming ecosystem.
Yeah. Thank you for a bottom line.
Thank you.